Okay. I notice we have some questions about getting started. Let's get
Yeah.
into that. What are the must-haves to getting started? Like the bare bones must-have in order to succeed.
So the model that I actually recommend now is a little bit different than if you started like a decade ago. I think these days, Amazon has 50% of e-commerce, and your
Mm,
ultimate goal should be to have your own brand, which is very difficult to do on Amazon. So what I usually the way I teach it is come up with an item to sell, start trying to sell it on Amazon first, and then once it has traction, start your own website and your own brand. So in terms of getting started, first thing you need to do obviously is you need to figure out what you want to sell, right? And in the event that you are not a creative person, like I don't consider myself a creative person from a product perspective, there's actually a whole bunch
okay.
of tools out there that will allow you to just kind of browse Amazon and know exactly how much money that particular item is making in a given month. For example, like a tool like Jungle Scout, literally it's a Chrome plugin, and as you're browsing on Amazon, you can click a button and it'll tell you how many units that sold in the last 30 days.
Mm.
So you can do your product research that way. There's also keyword tools out there that will tell you which exact products are being browsed or searched for, the exact search terms that they're typing in, the search volume, and how difficult it is to rank for that keyword. And so with that, hopefully you can find something that you can sell where you can add some sort of value to, right? We talked about that weighted hula hoop example where you're improving upon an item. So once you have that item, you need to find a manufacturer. And I often get asked this question like, can I get things manufactured in the United States versus Asia? The reason why people get stuff manufactured over in Asia is because the cost of labor is significantly lower. Let me give you an example. So for our handkerchiefs, right? The cost of the cotton is actually going to be the same whether I buy it in the US or whether I buy it in China. But the
Hmm,
fabric needs to be cut and sometimes it needs to be hemmed and that sort of thing. That labor cost is very expensive in the US versus China. So just a typical handkerchief might cost me $4 in the US, but it might only cost me 25 cents or 50 cents in China. And this
oh,
is
wow.
why a lot of people go over there. Anything that involves any amount of labor is generally going to be less expensive to source over there.
Hmm.
So on that, when we talk about like you're setting up that kind of pipeline, so are there some tips to do that? Because I know like even recently we had that blockage in the canal where
Yep.
things couldn't go through and people were like ports were stacking up. I mean, is there ways to protect yourself from those kind of things? I mean, do you hold so much inventory locally versus, I mean, how do you balance all that, I guess?
Yeah. So it takes some time to get this right, but over time you'll understand what your sales rate is and how much inventory that you should stock. So we try to hold no more than 3 months or so because when you have to hold extra inventory, obviously that requires more warehouse space.
Hmm.
And again, it takes some time to understand what your sales velocity is going to be. But things like the Suez Canal getting blocked is hopefully an anomaly.
Right, exactly.
Uh,
Yeah.
Or COVID. Yeah.
Please.
yeah,
Yeah.
or COVID. So we did get affected by the supply chain, but so some of our shipments were like 3 weeks late. One thing you have to realize is that when you source from overseas, there's going to be a lead time, right? So our lead time is typically actually 3 months.
Mm.
Typically
Hmm.
takes them a couple months to make the product, and then we budget usually like a month for it to come over by boat and clear customs.
Gotcha.